Okay, so now we've talked about brick wall limiting, we've talked about multiband compression, we talked about two-bus compression. The next thing, after this, things get quite a bit more subtle, I guess, in terms of what they do for us in impact and getting loudness. Um, so the first thing we're going to talk about is monoizing low end. And in order to do that, you need some kind of stereo imaging gadget that's capable of doing multiband. Um, I'll make a list on the page here so you can find a few more. I know there's a free one, man, but my brain's pretty much fried these days, so working too much. But what I like to use is the Ozone 5 imager. And this thing alone is worth the price of Ozone, in my opinion. I really, really like this plugin for adding stereo width or taking it away when necessary, or both at the same time. And in this particular case, what I've done is I got the low end band here, which I've got it up to, what number does it say? It doesn't give me a number. Well, anyway, I guess it's around 300. And I've done, if you see right here, if I set the fade over to 0%, that's normal. But I go ahead and say, make it completely mono down there. And the further up you can go in mono without damage, the better. And the reason for this is real simple. Stereo is based on this notion that anything in width, I guess you could call it, is created by differences between the two speakers. When they play the exact same thing, it's mono. Oops, just touched the mic. And whenever they're separate, like big rock guitars or whatever you're doing where you want width, even like maybe an orchestra recording or whatever you want to do there, that width is caused because the two different speakers are doing something totally different. And this is a concept we're going to cover a little bit later in another video in terms of high end. But in the low end, our ears can't localize where low end is coming from anyway. We wouldn't know if it was just one speaker or both or what. And so the general view, almost everyone I know, and this has been good to me, is to just take that low end and go in full mono. So it's exactly the same on both speakers. And the main reason for this is to make sure that our speakers aren't fighting each other, both acoustically, electrically, whatever. And it's a good practice to get into, and because you won't hear it anyway. And it makes life a lot easier on our compressors, and everything on the two bus actually is affected by this. And again, it's a pretty subtle thing, but let's go ahead and fire it up, and I'll show you what's going on. Let's bypass it. Go back to our mix here, and we're still going for that -4, super loud sound, and with minimal distortion, or I think maybe I made this up just recently, but more pleasing distortion. Yeah, we'll lower my standards a little bit and go pleasing. Always somewhere else. Okay, we're gonna skip ahead to the chorus, I guess. Is that right here? Okay. Now let's listen to it without the monoizer. I should probably go ahead and set my looper. Let's do that. Okay, and I'm gonna turn it on. And I'm not expecting a massive difference because this is not a real low-end heavy song anyway, but let's just see. Wow, on headphones, the difference is not subtle at all. If you guys aren't on headphones and you have access to them real quick, well, take a listen to this one more time. I'm going to A-B back and forth a few times. It's unreal how much this cleans this mix up. I've never heard it on headphones. I never really do this. I just check my monitors, but man, it's really obvious on headphones. Bypass. Turn on. Bypass. Man, I didn't expect that at all. That was crazy good. Definitely check this on headphones, and hopefully you hear the same thing I do. I'm actually really excited about this, like way more than I expected to be. Usually it's just I look at it as a tool to make my compressors not to work so hard because they can just focus on a mono thing, and compressors, even if they're stereo, tend tend to like mono things a little bit better when it comes to like maximizing loudness and things of that sort, uh, clarity or clean compression. Anyway, but what this did is it sucks all that mud from the sides, and the mud's still in there. I mean, or the low end's still in there, but it's not. There's something about that width thing when you're hearing both, like wide guitars and things of that sort. When you start hearing that low mid muddy type stuff, it's too much there. Too there. I think I'm gonna go with that. It's too there. And that's a big thing with, some people don't like wideners because they make everything too bright. And a lot of times it's not even a frequency manipulation thing. It's just the fact that by spreading stuff out, it's more there. And so when the mud on the guitars and looks like drum reverb and some other things is not there, it's smashed into the center. Man, that's a real epic clarity boost. I'm really, really impressed by that. I'm going to push this much harder. And this is another great reason to check out Ozone if you're so inclined. For the money, you're not going to beat it. But there are other plugins that do this, as I said before. So anyway, experiment with this yourself and do yourself a favor and try it on headphones too, because that was a game changer for me. That's the kind of thing I'd pay zillions for. Of course, all it did was hit the low end and made it mono. It's not really that crazy of a. It's not like we needed a $4,000 compressor for that.